The Seabees in the South Pacific during 1943 were a formidable force, essential for the success of the American military in World War II. The term Seabee, you may be wondering, is derived from the initials Seabee, which stand for the Construction Battalions of the United States Navy. They were deployed primarily for construction projects needed to win the war, including everything from building airstrips to clearing jungles, as we'll see with their activities in Bougainville and Munda. Though the Seabees were often overshadowed by combat units in the narrative of the war, their contributions were no less heroic or dangerous. Indeed, their activities paved the way, quite literally, for the success of the military's operations in these critical areas. Take for example the jungle of Bougainville. Picture a bulldozer making its way through the underbrush, working to clear the thick growth. This wasn't a simple matter of urban construction. The men were in the middle of a hostile environment, both from a natural and military standpoint. They felled large trees and cleared out shrubbery as bullets and mortars threatened their operations. It was the epitome of engineering under fire. Once the land was cleared, an enormous responsibility remained: constructing airstrips from scratch. This involved multiple facets of engineering expertise and labor. Surveyors would be present, working meticulously to ensure the runway was built with the exactness that aircraft landing would require. Bulldozers and trucks roamed the partially completed airstrip, hauling dirt and other vehicles. Men assembled steel matting and laid it down with an urgency that betrayed the importance of their task. There was no room for mistakes. Airplanes could not afford a bumpy landing in a war zone. In Munda, another crucial theater of operations for the Seabees, a similar story unfolded. Despite the initial condition of the airstrip being less than ideal, having been bombed out, the Seabees were undeterred. Their bulldozers and other heavy machinery moved deliberately through the area, clearing and preparing the land for a functional airstrip once more. Even amidst the bombed-out areas on and near the airstrip, these men worked diligently to restore it to operational status. If you turned your gaze towards the heavens, aerial shots of Munda airstrip would show planes parked on the runway, trucks moving about, clear evidence of a functioning, well-engineered piece of military infrastructure. It's easy to forget that all this activity was taking place on a remote island, far removed from the comforts of American soil. Men were drawing water from tanks, steamrollers were packing dirt on the strip, and others were working with chisels and hammers to break the binding on stacks of matting. Another integral but often overlooked aspect was the supply chain required for all of these operations. Dump trucks were busy unloading sections of matting. Hands unpacked packages of cleats that held the matting together, ensuring that the airstrips would be as secure as possible. Meanwhile, dump trucks dumped sections of matting and then sped off to collect more, in a seemingly endless cycle of activity. The Seabees were masters of making do with what they had, often improvising with the materials available to them. Much obliged you hopped on board for this snazzy trip through American life in the 1940s and 1950s, all captured through nifty vintage photographs. If this flick's got your motor running, don't be a square. Click on that jolly bucket of bolts to subscribe to the channel for more top drawer content just like this.